Hello, everybody. I'm Andrei, and I work for JetBrains as a Senior Vice President of Investments, Research, and Education. Welcome to Regionals. Great things happen when great minds come together. JetBrains wants to seek out great minds all across the globe, support their initiatives, and work together to create great things that will make the world a better place. That's why JetBrains is proud to be a Global Tools sponsor of the ICPC. There are already many great minds working at JetBrains, and together we have created some amazing things, like the Kotlin programming language, for example. It keeps on growing and growing in popularity. In 2017, Google began officially supporting Kotlin as a language for writing Android applications. We have also created professional development tools like Cline for C++ programmers, IntelliJ IDEA for Java, PyCharm for Python, and also educational tools that help people learn and teach programming. The regionals are the biggest contest in the ICPC calendar. Thousands of talented people all over the world team up to solve complex real world challenges. These contests are the proving ground for future champions. But even if you don't make it through to the finals, the experience of competing in the regionals and the new friends you'll make along the way are priceless. Enjoy the ride. Best of luck to everyone.
The next problem is DFS sequence, and the number of accepted solution of false Shapley, only 16. And Ajinkya is its author, and he will explain the solution.
Yeah. So, before we go into the solution, let me firstly quickly explain what the problem was. So, we were given two DFS sequences for a tree, and again, the DFS sequences need not be same because at each point during the DFS, we had a choice as to which child needs to be traversed first during the DFS. So based on the order in which the nodes were traversed, the DFS sequences could have been different. So two DFS sequences were given to us, A and B, and we were to say what is the number of trees that rooted trees that can produce both these DFS sequences. So yeah, that was the question, and let's try to see how we can do this. So basically, the first point to notice was that the DFS sequence for a tree is basically the root followed by the DFS sequences of each of the subtrees of that tree. So every subtree must appear as a consecutive subarray in the DFS sequence. So to begin with, without worrying much about the space or time constraints, we can think of some recurrence where a tree ijk can denote the number of trees, where with the DFS sequence, which begins at I in the first sequence and which begins at j in the second sequence and has a size of k. So we have to count the number of trees. So the answer is basically just tree of 1, 1, n. That means we start at the first element of both the sequences and the subarray has a size n. But again, looking at this recurrence, we may feel that uh, there are some things that might go wrong, right? Because say we select a subarray that begins at I and has a size k uh, in the first sequence A, but these elements might not be connected in the second sequence, right? When we consider the sequence B. So it might look like this is not as easy to solve. So yeah, how to do this? Let's go to the next slide. So yeah, that's actually not a major problem because the recurrence can itself handle such cases. So we just have to make sure that we will call a subproblem only if that can result in some valid answer. But again, what to call valid and all that. So yeah, let's try to simplify this further. So yeah, let's try to define something like T of ij, where this tree of ij denotes the number of trees with a DFS sequence that in the first sequence A, it lies in the subarray from I to j, and it has a DFS that appears as a subsequence in array B. So again, considering a recurrence of this kind, the answer is still tree of 1, n, because we have to consider all the trees that are represented by the first sequence A. So yeah, let's try to improve this further. So can we go to the next slide? So yeah, for our convenience, let's define two recurrences like these. So the first one can be tree of ij, where this denotes the number of trees with DFS sequences that are represented by the subarray ij in sequence A, and that have a DFS that is a contiguous subarray of B. Note that we are now considering only contiguous subarrays, but that is fine, because if it's actually a subarray, if it's actually a subtree in our original tree, then it should appear as a contiguous subarray in both A and B. So we define tree of ij this way. And then we define another recurrence called, say, forest ij, which will denote the number of forests with DFS sequences that are denoted by the subarray I to j in the first sequence, and they have a DFS that is a subsequence of B, as we had also discussed previously. So yeah, let's try to see how we can actually try to solve these recurrences. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide. So yeah, if keeping these definitions in mind, the recurrences are now actually more straightforward to consider. So let's try to see how we can define the first tree ij. So note that this will be 0 if aij is not present as a contiguous subarray in B, because that's how we had defined tree ij to be, because that should have been a contiguous subarray in B, and if it's not, then the answer would be 0. And the second condition where again this could be 0 is when some AI appears after some AK appears after AI in the second sequence. Why is this the case? Because if that AK has appeared after AI in the first sequence, then it means that it is in the subtree of I. But if it comes before that element in B, that means that's not a valid case. So again, this would be 0 here. And if both of these are not the case, then we can actually try to form a subtree here. So we will fix the ith element as the root and then try to find the number of forests in the remaining subarray. So let's try to see how we define this forest recurrence. So if we want to find the number of forests in the range I to j, we try to break at every point k such that the subarray from I to k will now denote the first tree in that forest. And then we try to find the number of forests in the remaining part of the subarray. And again, the base case is when there is a single element, the number of forests is 1. So we are trying all possible cases. So all the possible trees that are achievable through this will be considered here. And yeah, since tree of I comma k becomes 0 whenever the case is invalid, so there shouldn't be a problem while calculating these recurrences as well. So yeah, can we move ahead? So yeah, now each of the state again can be calculated in linear time. So there were two things basically that we were checking while calculating tree of ij. Firstly, we had to check whether a subarray ij is also present as a contiguous subarray in B, and that can be done in linear time. Also, we have to check if some element appears before another one in the second subarray. Again, that can be done in linear time. And the sum of forests ij also can be computed similarly. So there are n square states, and each of them can be computed in big of n time. So the overall complexity for this is cubic in terms of the number of nodes that we had, which would pass in the given time. So yeah, that was basically what was expected here.